Welcome, guys. Again, I see a few more people coming on here, and if I do happen to hear some noise, I might mute it. I'm Amanda Villarreal, and I am excited to share with you guys some great information tonight about sleep. And I think this is another one of those topics that is just so important that oftentimes I think it's hard to find information on everyday topics like this. If we are not sleeping well, everything is affected from our physical health to our energy to our productivity, our emotions, even our weight is affected if we are not getting enough sleep. So, we really want to make sure we're working on creating a good routine. And that's what we're going to kind of give you some tips on here tonight. And hoping that as we're going through this, it gives you some ideas that not only you can use, but you could also share with others. That is the point of these team Zooms every Monday night, that our team puts together a schedule of topics to hopefully help and educate you on some different topics, which as we're just starting to look through, some of the things to kind of discuss side effects of sleep. I think it's interesting that as you're looking at the screen here, that your immune system is even affected with sleep. And obviously this is a pretty important focus right now with flu season peaking and coronavirus, that we really want to make sure our immune system is optimally functioning. And if you are not getting enough sleep and your immune system is compromised, that actually affects your body's ability to fight infections. And you need to have those cells and those antibodies constantly firing to help to make sure that you are able to fight bacteria and viruses. So we want to make sure we are noting too that some of the other factors of, just things like decision making, how that's affected with sleep. And this is very interesting. If you sleep less than 5 hours a day, it can increase your risk of dying by up to 15%. And that study was actually done by Harvard. And I just think that that is pretty interesting of how, it even has long-term effects on us. And this is why it's really important we learn options and some ideas and strategies to help us with this topic. And, we talk about also even how our body rebuilds and repairs. I know as we all age, there are many things that start to happen as we age. Things like arthritis, things even we hear more and more cases of fibromyalgia, and our bodies will definitely have a harder time functioning as we get up and begin to move than it would be if we are actually getting enough quality sleep. And we're also going to be talking about that too here, is the difference between just sleep and quality sleep. Another thing is increased cortisol production. So I mentioned at the very beginning here of how less sleep can actually be a determining factor in weight gain. So, a lot of people struggle with understanding what could be happening with why their weight keeps fluctuating. Not too many often times does a doctor ever says, how do you sleep? So just something to be thinking about and being aware of. Another one is looking at how the correlation of lack of sleep can be a direct correlation with the effects of Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Very interesting. So our brain is affected from sleep. Our muscles are affected by lack of sleep. So all of these things we want to start to look at and really figure out how we can decrease some of those effects, even premature aging. So how much do we sleep a night? How much do we need to sleep a night? I bet if I asked many of you, I would say the average is probably closer to 6 hours, I would guess, is kind of the, I would say more of the norm today, where ideally they say 7 to 8 hours for adults, kids 10 plus hours, and teenagers 9 to 10 hours. So, just some things to be looking at is the amount of sleep and what happens when we're not getting enough sleep. So as we start to kind of look at, what happens when we sleep and all of the processes that are affected. I think this is kind of interesting just to show the different stages of sleeping and how if we are very light sleepers, we miss out on so many health benefits of getting into those different stages of sleep. So looking at the different options here and how this moves along. I'm a big fan of, and I just took a couple screenshots here of some pictures from my Polar Watch, and I'm a big fan of fitness trackers to use these as a way to gauge and monitor sleep. So you can see like mine in particular, this is a Polar Ignite. It shows, your charge, your sleep. It gives you a range of, it creates basically a timeline of how you sleep, and it will give you then a status of how you sleep each night. But what I really like to see is over here on this screen here of how much I actually slept, my bedtime, my wake time, but then in which zones did I spend my time mostly? And this will really help you to be able to understand more about how, if you're always feeling tired, or if you are struggling with some of those things we mentioned on the very first slide, it could be that you're never getting into those different zones of sleeping. So, this is important for all of us just to highlight and note. Do we reach these different stages? If not, we need to maybe look at some options to help us to be able to get deeper sleep. Now, many times people will reach for options of over-the-counter type sleeping aids, and there's a lot of them out there. But the thing that I think is, again, oftentimes neglected to be focused on are the side effects of those types of over-the-counter products. So as you're looking at the screen here, these are just, over-the-counter type options of very, just things that you would never think could be coming from something that's helping you to sleep. So we want to note that whatever we're taking to help improve our sleep should not be affecting our health in other ways. So be very leery when you are going to just grab something and thinking that it may be helping you. So tips for a better night's sleep. One of the best things we can do is try to create a solid schedule to help keep your body on a normal clock. So this means trying to wake up and go to bed at the same time approximately every night. Of course, on weekends, it's definitely harder for your body to adjust, but they say that you can't make up for sleep, and it's true. But taking a nap can be a great idea, but they do say no longer than 20 minutes because it will affect your sleep. And I don't know about you guys, but even with the time change, like just those changes can really make a difference in how we feel for even up to a week if we don't get enough sleep for 1 or 2 nights. So we want to keep trying to figure out the best strategies to help us continuing to feel better and feel rested. And also when we sleep, we want to maybe even look at things like taking a warm shower before bed, things we could do to help us relax. And a big thing too is even looking at having your room as dark as possible. That's why they say don't keep your cell phones by your beds. Anything that's causing light, that can also affect your sleep. So if we can start to really think about those things around us, we can start to eliminate some of those things that could be distractions and could also be causing your brain to go into different waves of losing the ability to completely shut down. So even keeping your cell phone by your bed, they say should at least be 12 to 24 inches away from you because it constantly, could be causing radiation to come in, which could also be affecting your quality of sleep. Also, what we eat and drink, they say to limit what you drink and eat for at least 2 hours before bedtime. So, for many of us, I'd say maybe average bedtime is maybe 10 o'clock. So that would mean after 8 o'clock, you don't eat or drink. And we also want to note that the more we drink closer to bedtime, that's going to affect how much we get up through the night, right? That also will create that influx in keeping us in more of that quality sleep time. So alcohol is also another big one that people a lot of times use it to help them fall asleep, but it will cause you to wake up in the middle of the night, especially the nitrates in wine. So you want to note that caffeine only before 4 o'clock, because again, it could affect the ability to not allow you to fall asleep. So if you really like something warm, steer more for something like warm water with lemon, or find like a tea option that's going to give you the benefits of helping you to fall asleep. So, and natural support for sleep, this is where we're going to be spending a little bit of time here discussing some options as far as looking at, variations of things that a lot of times we might have heard of, but we might not know what they actually do. So we're going to break these down a little bit and just to give you some ideas here. So one of the most common things I think people have heard of today, as far as supplement wise, is vitamin D3. And this has so many different functions and properties to it. And it's actually interesting that as we age, our bones are actually constantly being broken down and rebuilt, which is kind of fascinating. And as we age, that breakdown continues to intensify. And our vitamin D3 is essential in helping our bodies to make sure that they are rebuilding. And this is ideal in combination with calcium and magnesium. But for what we're talking about and focusing on here, specifically tonight with helping with sleep, vitamin D3 is the ideal source of helping with your body's ability to basically create like the effect of giving you more energy. And when you look at all the different options of vitamin D3, there's actually several different forms of vitamin D. There's vitamin D2 and there's vitamin D3. And your vitamin D3 is actually, this one is sourced from fish oil and it's naturally occurring in many foods. But this is also what we absorb from the sunlight. And that's why this is the most definitely absorbable type of vitamin D3, but you'll also know that a lot of your plant-sourced vitamin D2 is where the vitamin D2 comes from plant source options, but that is what's fortified into foods, which doesn't give you the biologically active form that is oftentimes used in supplements is vitamin D2, and again, along with your fortified foods. So vitamin D3 is the biologically optimal form and by far the best choice. So when you're looking at vitamins, this should be one to focus on. It's very inexpensive, but it can also, again, helping with creating a calming effect. And that is why we are a big fan of vitamin D3. And it's something too that I feel like where we live, you know, we don't tend to get the, say, 10 minutes you're supposed to get in the sun every day. That's why this becomes even more crucial to helping with making sure that that's actually getting absorbed where it's need to be, and really does make a difference in helping to give us that sunshine effect naturally is getting the right supplement form. So something else I wanted to mention for sleeping, which again, you wouldn't generally ever hear of when somebody tells you they can't sleep well, to do a cleanse. But a cleanse is an incredible way to help jumpstart your health. And this is not something you do all the time, but this is something you do a few times a year, and it really helps to get your body reset. And that can also be a big trigger of why you're not sleeping well. A lot of times our bodies have, you know, over a period of time continue to develop habits of things that we might not even be aware of. And maybe certain organs are starting to struggle to function optimally, and that's part of why we can't sleep. Or one organ's working too hard and it's causing the other ones to slow down, and that affects, you know, some of the characteristics of why we're waking up at night. So doing a cleanse we highly recommend, and it has been clinically proven to help with improving sleep. So again, think of detoxifying, getting the things out of the body that we don't want and getting more of the things in the body that we do want. And last few areas we want to talk about here. And again, I know most people are familiar with calcium, magnesium. Magnesium is a great also relaxant, but for tonight's purposes, I just chose a couple of very popular options that we've used with clients for years. And this is called Osteomatrix and Chewable Calcium Magnesium. And again, both of these are very different than what you would find in a lot of your calcium magnesium supplements. You want to make sure, we talked about the fact of being absorbable. And that's what's different with both of these. Now, the chewable is going to be immediate released. This is an excellent option for kids. If you ever had kids that had growing pains or they wake up at night with a night terror, this will instantly calm them down. So think of chewable CalMag when you need that instant relief. You ever had a Charlie horse, a muscle cramp? This I used during pregnancy when my calves would cramp up. Amazing how fast it works to help to relax. Now the Osteomatrix is great because it's time release, so it stays in your body. So if you take it before bed, it helps to calm you down. It can help you to stay asleep. So, you know, restless leg syndrome, very common. And the combination of both the magnesium and the calcium, you know, you're also getting then the additional benefits beyond just using straight magnesium. And so that's why we're mentioning these two options here. We also have, and I should also mention for the chewable CalMag, that's also a great natural alternative for acid reflux and heartburn. So again, it's instead of a Tums option that over time, very hard on your stomach, this can also be another option for that. Our Gentle Sleep Complex, this would be one too that, you know, many people are familiar with some of these herbs that you can see there on the screen. Passion flower, valerian root is the main one that's used in here, along with chamomile. And these are very specific to helping also with that ability to get you to fall asleep, but it doesn't cause you to be drowsy in the morning, like many of the ones we talked about earlier could have some very severe side effects to them. So this is going to be a great option for, you know, I'll give you an example. My husband Art, when he used to travel a lot, which we're not traveling right now so much, but switching time zones and having to readjust, this really helped him to be able to fall asleep faster when he was trying to go back and forth. So love this because this isn't something you have to get on and stay on for the rest of your life. You can use this as needed. And I think that's also, you know, just something very important to note because our lives are always changing. Sometimes we need more support than others. So we all need to note that even though we may try to do the best we can as much as possible, things happen. It's life. And we need to know that there are options to help us to get through those times when we need additional support. Stress relief complex would be another one. And this is one that generally people know of it to be used during the day. But stress relief complex has several different herbs in there that have a combined response. Like at the very beginning, we talked about that increased cortisol effect that happens when we don't sleep, which is a trigger for weight gain. This helps to blunt the cortisol levels naturally. And that will be a great thing if you may wonder if stress could be part of your reason you're not sleeping. This is an incredible way to help you fall asleep and stay asleep. So part of it is learning what's keeping you awake. Is it due to a dietary concern? Is it due to, something that, again, stress related? Is it something that maybe, again, you have your phone right next to you and you don't realize that's waking you up? So we can definitely assess some of the things that we do to see if it can make a difference. And having some natural solutions can only give us more options and variety. And another thing to mention here, which I think is very interesting, is that what you are washing your sheets in and your bedding in can also make a difference in how you sleep, the chemicals in there. And people always think free and clear means safe. Not necessarily. There can be more chemicals added actually to make it not smell and to hide the fragrance. So getting the right detergents, avoiding a lot of the fragrances can also make a really big difference in your and your kids' sleeping patterns and habits. So, just something to think about, that again, a lot of times nobody would ever correlate that with sleeping, is your laundry detergents, fabric softeners that you're putting around your bodies and you're breathing in all night. So something to think about there too. And lastly, with breathing or sleep apnea, another product just to kind of highlight here really fast is called alfalfa. Now, alfalfa is one of those products that I feel as though has so many different needs to, different uses for it. But when you're looking at helping with sleeping, it's great because it has a natural antihistamine built in it, which opens your airways. So even, if you're familiar with somebody that has sleep apnea, oftentimes they do, because you can hear it. They snore really loud too. That can be a symptom. And this helps to open that up. So you might not notice the labored breathing quite as much. And again, it helps to create those airways to be more relaxed. So alfalfa is a great natural thing to try if you know someone with sleep apnea. So just a little tip there. All right. Well, we try to keep these exactly to 20 minutes. And I always like to just give a few minutes for questions. Or if anybody wants to add anything, we would love to hear from you. So anybody have anything they'd like to add or comment on or ask a question here real quick? Feel free to unmute yourself. I think I muted everyone here. There's also a chat box that feel free to ask a question there, which I don't see any questions there. Oops. All right, Stacy, I think I might have saw you unmute. Perfect. Hey.
Yeah. So I have two questions. Is alfalfa also good for snoring?
Yes.
Same reason, opens the airways.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. And then second of all, it kind of fascinates me about the children having trouble sleeping. The chewable calcium, it just works right away. And because Jack used to have night terrors, and we didn't know about any of this at that point. So it just, they need the calcium and the magnesium and it calms them down, or how does that work?
It does. It triggers that. The magnesium especially is the key with that, but it helps to block some of the waves that go up into the brain that will cause that stimulation to wake them, to make that their brains basically awake while they're trying to sleep. So it calms them down, which I have several clients that have had great success with their kids using this. So, and it's usually only a short period of time that kids go through that. So this is a great thing to know about. So yeah.
Awesome.
Good. All right. Thanks. Anybody else, guys? Any questions, comments? All right. Well, if you think of something, feel free to anytime reach out with more questions to whoever invited you. But I want you guys to know next week, our topic is going to be on spring allergies and immunity, which again, immunity is a hot topic right now. So the more we can learn, the better. And spring allergies are right around the corner. So we'll again kind of tie in immunity with this. So that'll be a great one to, make sure you invite people to these guys. This is specific to our teammates and, our friends and direct clients, but feel free to invite people that are new, or if these topics might be something that would interest them, they're open to them too. We also have an event coming up, which this will be a really fun way to learn some more things about how to make your own germicide wipes. We're going to make our own allergy packs and a couple freezer smoothie meals. We're going to have a ton of information. Definitely really digging into more details about some of the products we even mentioned here tonight. But I think that this will be a really good overview. So mark your calendars for that one and make sure you do sign up, because we'll have to make, and not have enough supplies available. Last thing I want to mention here really quickly is Roger Barnett, who is the CEO of Shackley, actually just came on today and made a special announcement because of all the concern with coronavirus and the need for boosting immunity, that they put together a pack that's going to be released tomorrow to the public. And this is going to be our super pack, which, love this. It puts everything together that we need, from strengthening your immune system to helping with giving you options for washing your hands and killing germs and viruses. So watch for this to come out tomorrow. I think this is a really big need right now that we should be sharing with people, because they don't know where to go and they're running out of hand sanitizers at places and they don't know what to be using. So again, watch for this pack to be released tomorrow. So just wanted to highlight that here. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope that was helpful. Again, reach out anytime if you have some questions, and you guys that are hanging out for business training, feel free to stay on here. So have a good night, guys. Thank you.